We're just waiting for Terry to come back on the channel. Here he is. Here's Terry. Women love him, men want to be him.
Oh, mate, yeah. We're from
Well,
Clark
men
Kent to
won't be you,
Superman.
Terry, because you're tough. You do rugby and you can have a fight and you earn a big old fat salary, you big banker.
Not really, man. I don't know if any of that stuff is true. None of it's true.
Yeah,
I'm just another
yeah.
human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just another human being like everyone listening to this.
Bleeding poverty tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we spoke about David A there. Do you want to finish off on David A? Because I don't think David A really, amongst boxing people, gets his flowers, does he really, for what he's done in the sport? That's my opinion.
He doesn't get the respect he deserves, but he was this really important bridge, wasn't he, between like the Lennox Lewis era and
Mm,
this kind of Wembley 80,000 era. Like
yeah,
David was holding boxing down. Him and Ricky Hatton were holding boxing down together, weren't they?
yeah, they were. Yeah, and Carl Zaggy.
Yeah, yeah, forgot him. Yeah, yeah, put him in there as well. But they were very important guys. But you know how it is. The bigger man will always get all the attention because that's really what people like to tap into.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Okay, let's move on to the rest of the card. What we spoke about. 2 seconds. Here we go. Uh, we spoke about Joshua Buatsi, Callum Smith, Zan Caballel, Parker Bacoli, Stevenson Padley, Mohamed Alakal, Joe Gallagher's guy against Engel Gomez. They say he's one for the future. Artur Beterbiev and Bivol. What did you make of that, Terry?
Um, Completely different fight to the first one, that's for sure. Um, I guess it's what happens when you're talking to elite level guys here, right?
Yeah.
They both made the changes they needed to. So Beterbiev realized he had to do too much chasing at the end of the fight and said, actually, if I can score more rounds earlier in the fight, I might have an easier time of it because I'm getting old now. And Bivol's gone, all that running around in the first fight just made me knackered. So I'm just going to stay with him and trade with him. And so they've both done things differently, but it's still been a compelling fight because it's ebbed and flowed. It's just ebbed and flowed differently. Look, regardless of, Beva's got hard and solid views. I I drifted towards Beterbiev as the winner, but I understand people saying Bivol won. I understand people saying maybe it's a draw. I get all outcomes. I said Beterbiev because I like a lot of what he does, and that's my justification. In the rounds, I liked what he was doing.
Yeah.
I felt his shots were having more impact, and I felt that he could change the fight with a couple of intelligent shots. Whereas I feel what Bivol was doing was just trying to win rounds. Like, if I can rack up enough punches, I can win these rounds, as opposed to I want to hurt this guy. But I love the clash of styles. I thought it was good. I probably wouldn't want to see a third fight. I think those two fights have been so high level. I think the third fight will be a lot lower in terms of quality, and there's no need for it.
Did you think that it were kind of like Calzaghe against Roy Jones Hopkins type, where they were pity pat punchers, scoring punchers, but staying out of harm's way kind of thing, picking his pocket?
I think Calzaghe hits harder than people give him credit for
I
because
didn't until he did his hands in.
even then, like, everything looks pitter patter, doesn't it? And then you'll just see a guy drop, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
So I think there's something in those shots because I've never seen people walk through them, if you see what I mean, Russ.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
there's
yeah.
something in what Calzaghe does. It's not the most elegant, but my God, is it effective. But in terms of that fight, I'd sort of put it in that kind of, maybe not Jones versus Calzaghe or Hopkins versus Calzaghe, because I feel both were on the slide at that point.
Hmm.
Whereas I think Beterbiev's at this point now where he won't get any better than he is now. So
Hmm.
we're kind of catching this at the right time.
Hmm.
So I don't know where you'd put this one. It had a feel of, just in terms of a clash of styles and people trying to do things differently, like Tony versus Iran Barkley, where Tony realized he couldn't just move away, right? He's like, I just have to stay with this guy and work with him and hope for the best. And then eventually Barkley just kept running himself into the ground because,
Like Froch against Glenn Johnson, Froch said to me, he said, "Oh, whacking him, and you were like an oak tree." He says so. So I had to change it up a little bit and not put as much mustard on shots and just do enough just to get the rounds one. He says because I couldn't budge him. Glenn Johnson.
Yeah.
Clinton Wood saying to me, he says he were teak, tough. And when Clinton had a trilogy with him, he'll tell you, and I think he said it on my channel, didn't he, when I was sat in his kitchen, Clinton, it took a lot out of him, but it took a lot out of Clinton as well, didn't it? That trilogy. And that's 36 hard rounds on the hard road, weren't they? That era.
It's why I'm not in favor of Beterbiev and Bivol fighting a third time, because there's still mileage in Bivol as things stand. But if he has a third fight, then there is
41 next birthday, isn't he? The other guy.
Which guy?
The other one's 41 and his next birthday, Beterbiev.
Yeah. And so he's not going to get any better, is he?
No. But he's teak tough, in he? You can see he's a tough man. And why are these guys like Beterbiev and Lomachenko, Usyk, them sort of guys, Vitally, Vladimir, why are they all tough men? Why is that? What are they doing out there, Terry, in their amateur system compared to us?
It's a different system, isn't it? So in their system, you get selected. In our system, you walk through the door.
What's different?
So,
I don't understand that. What's that mean?
So in the Russian system, let's say 100 kids start boxing in year 1 of school.
Yeah.
Right? By year 7, they've figured out who the best 3 are. And they're the ones that go on to wear the vest for Russia, etc., etc.
How they do it then?
Yeah.
What about the other 97 then? Do they get dropped?
They'll do other sports. So all the kids, like the Soviet system is really about, when you're a kid, you do like 6 different sports.
Yeah.
And then you'll get selected for one of them if you're any good.
That's how Usyk could have gone pro soccer, couldn't he? They say, don't they, online?
Mate, it's a very competitive. That's far more competitive. I don't know.
Well, Joshua, they reckon, could have done football. Could have made a career in football. And for Joshua, and rugby, and sprinting.
Well, he was county for all of them, wasn't he?
Yeah. So there's not much after that, is there, to go in? Oh, why is there really? If you get to Doncaster boys at football after school, you play Sunday League football. Then it's Donny boys. Then you play Yorkshire County, then you're England schoolboys, aren't you? That's that. So if he were county, he'd have been one below England schoolboys. Lillyshaw, then, wouldn't he, Joshua?
Yeah.
So he must have been decent, at least, Terry.
Yeah, he's still got his football skills.
Yeah. So if Usyk, he might have been one of them athletes like Joshua that maybe could have turned his hand to any sport, really. Just might have been naturally gifted. Do you think?
Yeah. But that's what the whole Soviet system is about. It's about finding people who are gifted at the thing.
Yeah.
And then you just train them the right way. Whereas we just kind of hit and hope.
Yeah. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. So Beterbiev and Bivol looks like they're going to have a third. What would happen if either of them fought Callum Smith?
Well, one of them already has done it. We know what happened there.
Yeah, I know, but what if they fought him again?
Same thing will happen again.
Bivol, Callum Smith, then. Eddie wants that, does he, as an in-house fight?
I think Bivol outworks him.
Well, Eddie said, and I quote on Puppy Parsons, the trilogy fight's there, but I'd like to see Callum Smith get his chance against Bivol. So there you go.
But what's his chance, though? On what basis is this his chance? Like, you beat Boatsi, like you didn't beat like a Gavodchik or anyone like that. You beat Joshua.
Boatsi's not won a world title, has he?
He's like a world British champion. Great, okay.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from with that, but so Callum Smith, he's been a world champion at super middle. He's now the WBO interim champion. He's beat Boatsi. There's a lot of noise behind him now, and the Smiths are going to scream it from the rooftops. But has he got the skills to hang with Bivol?
Yeah, he just hasn't got the work rate.
He's got the power, obviously, and he's got that big left hook.
Well, Bivol's just gone 24 rounds with Beterbiev. I think their chin's pretty solid.
Yeah, Bivol's chin is. He never went down against Beterbiev, and everybody Beterbiev's fought, he's knocked him out except Bivol.
There you go. So for me, I don't think it's an easy fight for Callum Smith. I think Hearn's just doing that for the money. Like he's just putting his name in there for the money, going, yeah, well, Callum can get a good payday and retire. It's good promoting, but it's not good for the sport.
And Eddie gets paid 20%.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, just two more fights. Virgil Ortiz Jr., a Golden Boy fighter, Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya, both of them with grey beards. Now, old stagers now, aren't they? Who fought each other at middleweight, didn't they? Well, I think it
Yeah,
was less than that, wanted, didn't they boil him down to 156, Hopkins?
yeah.
And Israel Madrimov against Virgil Ortiz Jr. What did you make of that fight, Terry? And do you think it
Interesting
was a
fight,
fight?
actually. I really like Ortiz. Ortiz
Yeah,
is another one that Golden Boy have developed the right way.
yeah.
Because remember that there was some doubts about him at 147. Towards the end of his 147 run, it was like, is he any good? And Oscar was like, nah, he's got to fight at 154. He's too big.
Mm.
And then we're now seeing.
Yeah, mate. We've lost Terry.
Huh?
Oh, I thought we'd lost you then, Terry. I thought you'd done one.
No, 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 no. I'm here. I was just saying, I like him. Really good footwork. It's not flashy, but gets himself in range. And when he's in range, he lets his shots go.
Yeah,
And there's venom in those shots. And that sounds really simple, doesn't it? But it's really hard to do at that level because you got someone who's just as good, just as tough as you. And Madrimov was no mug, by the way.
mm.
But Ortiz, especially in the early part of the fight, was able to kind of have his way.
Yeah,
And yeah, so I thought it was a good fight. It just makes it interesting now that you look at Madrimov and how he fought Crawford. And so you go, how far ahead of everyone is Crawford at 154? And actually, is it dangerous for him to go up to 168 to fight Canelo?
yeah. Very dangerous. Okay, we're on 12 minutes. We're going to do this next fight and wrap this up. Then we're going to go to the juicy stuff because this is only like the starter. The main course is going to be later. No, sorry, this is a starter. This is the main course next, but the pudding and the cheese and biscuits is going to be later. Right, Charles Adamus against Hamzad Sheeraz was given as 118, 110 Adamas, 114, 115 Sheeraz. That's a 9-round swing in a 12-round fight. And the other one gave it a draw. Over to you, Terry.
All those scorecards were wrong. Like, like I'll normally give judges credit if you can find 8 rounds they all agree upon, and then if there's 4 that they disagree on, you're like, I get it. Set in different parts of the ring, you like different things, fine. There's just no consensus, is it? It's an absolute mess.
Is somebody going to lose the job like Ian John Lewis? Yes or no? Not on your
and John Lewis. No, I don't think anyone will. And look, I'm not going to scream corruption yet, Russ. And I know I'm going to get cooked in the comments for not screaming corruption because they in the comment section they just want the world to end. But
Terry,
my
just get removed if they get too heavy, mate. So don't worry about it.
My argument is this: the optics of it were bad, right? You got Hamza Sheeraz, who's essentially the Riyadh season ambassador. You've got Turkey Al Sheikh in his corner telling him he's 2 rounds down, screaming it.
After looking at the judges' scorecards?
Yeah, you got Frank also screaming, and you got the judges then giving those scorecards. It's bad optics. I don't know what the reality is, but it doesn't look good.
Well, who's the commission doing the fight? Because if that happens in England, right?
It's the board.
Listen, let me tell you this. You know what Dennis used to say to me? Don't you go in near in them judges, right? When Josh, you were there with me, when I helped make, obviously I signed Josh well, didn't I, for Dennis? You were stood there with me when Josh won his IBO International, and I was like so proud. 4 wins with Porky and Big Ron. Dennis, do not go near them judges, Russell. I said, I promise I won't, and I didn't, because it's very, very serious in the UK. Now, whatever commission's running this, it should tell us on here. Hang on a minute.
It was the board. It was the
board. Boxing Board of Control, right. Why have we heard nothing? Why have we heard nothing about this, Terry? Why is that? Why? Because the shit in the pants of that turkey, that's why. Nobody dares say a word. I'll tell you who the commission is in a minute. Let me have a look. It's all online. You just got to know how to find it. Right, here we go. Joshua Boatson. We'll just click on that. And then we click on event. Let me get me brick tops on. Right, the venue Riyadh season, 22nd of Feb. The promoters, Bob Arum, Tom Brown, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, Eddie Hearn, Benjamin Shalom, and Frank Warren. Matchmaker Steve Furness, Russian TV1. Commission, British Boxing Board of Control. There you go. British Boxing Board of no control. But yeah, we've got the guy. Oh, yeah, he's not a promoter on there. See, that's how he gets out in Turkey, doesn't he? He ain't got a promoter's license. But he's running the show, basically. He's the paymaster, right? What he says goes. And he decides to go up to the judges and have a look. Now, I never had a board license because I was refused one. So I knew in my heart I could look at it. But then he says, don't cause any problems tonight for me, Russell. I said, okay, I won't. Because yeah, I wanted Josh Whale to win so much. And he did it. He won in style. But it's in bad form, that, isn't it? And then they're telling that Sheeraz's corner how many rounds. And nobody did anything. But Bricktop repeated it. So are the board going to go after Bricktop? No, they're not, are they? They daren't tackle him, dare they? So it leaves a bad taste in my mouth because he might have upped his game over that in them last few rounds, but he didn't, did he? But he got a draw, the kid, right? And the kid knew in the interviews because he was shutting people down, one in his interviews after and that very quickly. And he'd been bashed up like Bradley Skeet bashed him up. And it leaves a bad taste in my mouth because who's Sheeraz's best win to be in there fighting for Marvin Hagler's old belt? Who's his best win? Tyler Denny? Are you having a laugh? They've took the cocks and pissed on us from Penthouse. Piss on me. That's what they've done, mate. And I'm raging over it. Over to you, Terry.
The Hamza Sheeraz thing is a British boxing problem, really, isn't it? We never toughen our kids up before we feed them to world titleists. We never toughen them up. Like Hamza Sheeraz should have had a run where he fought Tyler Denny, Brad Pauls, Denzel, but he should have fought all of these guys. And even if he had stopped them, fair enough. But at least he would have been in that environment where it's a bit intense. And so by the time he comes out of that kind of circuit, he's been toughened up for fighting guys like Adamus. But I think they tried to find the path of least resistance for us.
E.P. Smith will be licking his lips watching Sheeraz there, you know. I think so.
Nah, Sheeraz will stop him.
You think? Well,
Yeah.
I'm not so sure, Terry. I'm not so sure. He needs a good test, doesn't he? Chris Eubank Jr., Denzel Bentley. That's a good fight, like you just said there.
No, I don't want to hear that.
No?
I don't want to hear that. Because Denzel has been asking for that fight for 2 years. Denzel was like, I want the Sheeraz fight. And he kept getting fobbed off. So it's like, well, why would he want to now fight him? Let Denzel fight Adamus.
All right, then. I'll ask you a question here. Who's going to want to take Sheeraz on now in Saudi? Who's going to want to take him on? Because you know you're going to need a knockout to win.
Yeah, people need the money.
On now if they're giving him draws like that, and you've got Turkey there meddling with judges' cards and Bricktop repeating what's being said and seen and all that. Who's going to want to fight Sheeraz now? They're going to want paying handsomely, aren't they? I bet Lou DiBella and Oscar De La Hoya and Hopkins and all them Yanks, Tom Brown and them, are looking at that and thinking, whoa, we're going to want paying to fight him in Saudi now, that Sheeraz. We've been being the ambassador for Riyadh season, you know?
But it's also just a bad...
in my mouth. You what?
It's a bad advert for, like, boxing under the British board because people just want it to be fair. Although I don't think the board get to pick those judges, so I'm going to probably walk that one back. I think it's the WBC who get to pick those judges. So we know what they're like.
Are we too passionate about the sport on this channel, Terry? Is the vibe going all wrong, or have we stuck to this vibe for 7.5 years?
Mate, but you are the voice of hardcore boxing. You don't have a choice.
I'd like to think so, mate.
Yeah, you don't have a choice, mate. You're on the Titanic till it sinks, mate.
I'm all or nothing, aren't I, mate? I'm one of them that sabotages his own self just to prove a point, aren't I? It's like I had an argument with somebody over some parts the other week. I went, yo, I'm not coming here ever again. I'll go so-and-so place. It was somewhere else and it was like an extra 62 quid. I'm like, oh, what am I doing here? But sometimes you just got to swallow, aren't you, if you try and get sick, mate. But no, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, that. And the best thing about it is the powers that be, like Bricktop, coming out saying, well, it were close, it could have gone either way. Look, Bricktop's fighter has just been given a draw and he's not screaming that he won. But when any other time, he'd be screaming blue murder if it were a draw, wouldn't it? When you get a draw against a Bricktop fighter, it means that you won. You see, we know that, don't we, Terry? Come on. We know that. And we're not slagging him because Bricktop's boxing, isn't it? But when boots on other foot, they can spin their narratives. And the best thing about it is, your Umars and your Puppy Parsons and all the rest of them, they're not going to speak how we're speaking, are they, mate?
Well, do you know what I'll say though, Russ? That's what you want your promoter to do, though. You want him to come in for you when something like that happens.
Not
Go,
when,
oh yeah,
not when it's
he
like
broke his
that,
hand.
mate. Come on, the kid got bashed up, mate, by that damage. And
You
he's
got to keep
probably the
running.
worst ever WBC middleweight champion that we've ever seen. Do you think?
I'd have to go through the archives. I'm sure.
Come on, he's a European level guy and he got bashed up by him. Sheeraz got bashed. He weren't even in the fight. He weren't commanding the
Wait, hold on. You're telling me Adames is a European level guy, but his record, Derevyanchenko, decent level. I'd say he's European or European plus.
European plus, then you'd say he's world top 8 or 7, wouldn't you? But he's not like
top
a
5.
Hopkins or a Golovkin,
5.
is he? He's not an Hopkins or a Golovkin, is he?
He's... No, but you're talking about Hall of Famers there.
All right, then, the guy who had cancer, who Eddie kept digging up, what were he called?
Danny Jacobs.
Danny Jacobs. Where would you rank him higher than Adames?
He's a Danny Jacobs level guy.
Danny Jacobs level guy, or maybe just a touch under, yeah?
No, maybe a touch over.
Okay, then. So he's no like elite. He's just a solid top fiver then, isn't he? Yeah.
He's a deserving world champion. He's not Canelo, he's not Golovkin, but him being a world champion with the guys that he's beaten, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but he was nowhere near him, Sheeraz. What he really? He wasn't really in the fight, was he, mate? Come on.
He had never experienced that. You know when you can see someone's in over their head.
He'd never been in a firefight, had he?
Yeah. He's like, why is this guy still here? Why is he gone down?
His only firefight with Bradley Skeet.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to the pudding, the treacle sponge pudding, and the cheese and biscuits, and a nice glass of rosé. Egggate, slapgate, whatever you want to call it, Warwick stage, yes or no. Crusher Ben getting an egg slapped in his face and sent skidding across the stage by Junior. What did you think?
So I don't think Conor Benn knew. I don't think Nigel Benn knew. I don't think Eddie Hearn knew. Now, did all the others know? I think everyone suspected, because even I was like, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's Eubank, right? So we always try and second guess what's going to happen. I didn't expect it to be an egg, but fair play to him for actually having the common sense to make it about the eggs. I thought that was really smart, actually. Because it ties in so many different things, doesn't it? Like, It's the eggs, the WBC saying, yeah, he must have taken it in eggs. And then it's the idea of, when you're embarrassed, you got egg on your face. You know what I mean? It's almost like Eubank's playing 4D chess. So fair play to him. Yeah. But we got to talk about the most important thing, Russ.
What's that?
Why did it take Eddie Hearn 8 seconds to kick off?
Because he didn't really know what was going to happen, did he? I think maybe.
No. Watch it again. No. As soon as the slap happens, right? Hearn starts clapping. Then he stops. Then he goes, what am I supposed to do now? In the meantime, Nigel's gone, I'm not having that. Nigel's gone after Junior. Hearn's kind of stood there while everyone else is kicking off. All the real kind of hard people are doing what they do. And then about 8 seconds later, he must have spotted Shalom and gone, I'm just going to grab him. And you see that embarrassing bit where he's trying to get to Shalom and Shalom's basically just shushing him with one finger. And I was like, this is what it is, right? He didn't know whether to be Eddie Hearn,
Eddie Hills.
But in the end, he just ended up being Barry's son.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It reminded me of, going into a nightclub in Sheffield 30 years ago. And everybody was saying, "Oh, Errol Bomber Graham's over there. Errol Bomber Graham's over there. Who's the big black fella with him? His minder." No, no, no. That's Johnny Nelson. He's a boxer. Well, he was known as Errol, the guy with Errol Bomber Graham, and then he was known as the guy who drove Naz about. It reminded me of that. He was just Barry's son, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what he was. He was just Barry's son. Like, I don't know what to do here. But the thing
Yeah.
is, when you're 45 years old, you're not supposed to be.
46.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be kicking off. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're meant to be. Um, I mean, have a bit of dignity about you. Go, security will take care of this. Not my business. That's what he should have done. But he doesn't see. He's a prisoner of this fake identity he's created. Like this lad about town, this guy that can have it when he wants to. The stupid magazine covers where he won't take his shirt off and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, he's in a vet.
Nah, yeah, it's embarrassing.
I'll take
It's embarrassing. But overall, no, I don't believe everyone knew. I think people suspected, and I think security were on alert. Like, listen, any funny business gets straight in there. Yeah, so I think that's what happened. But I just think Eubank's so smart. He realized that the build-up needed a moment like that, because that moment you recycle that every few years and go, isn't that still funny? Yeah, it's still funny. So yeah, I just think Eubank Jr. he's the modern day David Haye, because he understands what's needed. He knows how to pull the right promotional strings. Let's not forget the press conference where he really stuck it on Eddie.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Oh, you listen, he's getting sued, isn't he, off Bricktop over that. And my argument
Which
with that,
what for Tuesday?
yeah, he's still being sued, isn't he? Bricktop said Turkey said they wanted it, were all sorted, and then I've seen it online that he's still going to be took to court over that. What he said, there's a scumbag and been ripping people years. He said Bricktop has, didn't he? And he's maybe got an argument there, because you'd only have to go online to see that there's been cases where fighters have been messed about and that, haven't there? So if Eubank wants to defend himself, come and see your Uncle Porky and I'll send you the Bricktop file. It's not hard, it's all online. But do I really care about him now? He's a private school kid. So's Conor Benn, so's Eddie Hills, and so's Calla Sauerland. All privately educated people. And Calla, I've dug an interview up earlier. He was going on about he can have it on the hard road. He don't mind having it on hard road, and that he's a Tottenham fan. He's Tottenham, isn't he? God, you know what I mean? People from private school wanted to be tough guys, hanging around people from council estates. You couldn't make it up, could you, Terry?
Well, it's how it always goes, right? But the thing is, they normally grow out of it by 25.
Well, these aren't, have they? They're in the mid-40s.
Yeah, it's a bit cringeworthy, isn't it?
Very cringeworthy. What do you think about Turkey's Instagram post saying the winner of Ben against Eubank is going to fight Canelo Alvarez at 168? What do you think about that? Pop, pop, bang.
Well, that tells you who's expected to win this, then, doesn't it? Because Conor Benn is not going up to 168 to fight Canelo. Not if O'Hara Davis broke that jaw.
No, you've just seen him. If that's not staged, you've just seen him go skidding across stage, and it could have only been a slap because he had an egg in his hand, didn't he? Really?
Yeah.
So okay, Eddie's come out and he said that people need to stay out of Nigel Benn's way at today's press conference. I haven't seen the press conference, but I will catch up on it later after I've had Anthony back on and Canada's boxing channel. Bob, what do you think, Sir Bob?
Yeah, I didn't even know boxing was popping like that in Canada. So no, kudos to everyone. Look, I like anyone that's coming on and putting their nuts on the line and having an opinion. I respect anyone that does that because, it's not easy.
Yeah, I hope Bob's all right. He's been to hospital for some blood tests for some sort of reason. Yeah. 65-year-old, retired. Looks like he's got a good life out there. Good luck to Bob. And he's coming out and he's saying his bit. And I don't think he'd be a sellout as well, Terry, like some others in the sport of boxing. Amir Khan's toying with a comeback. What do you think to that?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, Amir Khan.
No.
No. Amir Khan, I'm afraid. The WBA have now been dropped from BoxRec because they've got too many world champions in each weight division. So so Boxrec are not going to recognise their fights as world titles. I'm assuming that's any belt below the super belt. But that's from 1st of March, is it, or something? I've seen
Yeah, but they've been talking about going back to having one champion per weight class for about
about
7, 8 years
5 years.
now.
Yeah, we know that, don't we? Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Derek Chisora strutting about. Is Derek Chisora a bully? People are saying he's a bully. The Gad says he's a bully. The Gad said he was unapproachable, and only recently he's been approachable. But people shit the pants in his company, don't they? He's a very unpredictable guy, isn't he? Has he got that CTC or whatever it's called? Too many blows to head? Because his style takes blows, doesn't it? Do you think that it's not his fault and that he's been knocked about?
No, he's just like that. I think I've told you the story before.
Mm.
When you see Derek in the gym, yeah, he'll give all the time he can to boxers, right? He'll give all the time he can to boxers and trainers. If you're a journalist, he doesn't care. If you're a promoter, he doesn't care. Because his thing is this: there are people who put their bodies on the line, and there are people who don't, and you got to treat them differently. That's Derek 101. He'll always be like that.
He's a tough kid, isn't he? We have to give him that. I know sometimes he annoys me, but he is a tough man with big old shovel paws, isn't he? Big old bear paws on him, isn't he?
Yeah, just one of those guys that you'd be glad if he was by you when it kicked off.
If it came on top in a boozer, because when it comes on
Yeah.
top, I'm usually the guy that's flying. Well, these days I'm usually like flying through air like that. Come here, you. I'm like that unless I can get a few in. You need something like Derek behind you, don't you? Because if I had Derek behind me when I'm out on the town, especially when I go into Brown Hills, I like to offer my big pile. It's usually on my Todd as well. So it'd be nice to have Derek in tow, wouldn't it? Because I'd be like me unbearable, wouldn't I? I'd be unbearable. I'd take him into all them places where I've had intense beef.
Yeah.
And I'm qualified to talk about intense beef from where I'm from.
But he's also that guy that you've never seen him back down.
No, he doesn't he? What about when he walked up to both Klitschko's and spat on them? That water. Yeah. I mean,
didn't he try? Who was it he tried to kiss? Was it Pulev?
Yeah, I think it was Pulev. He's not really bothered, is he?
No.
We forgot to mention, we'll wrap it up on this one, the rehydration clause. Eddie Hill shit his pants and changed it from 10 to 12 pound. So does that mean the IBF are going to do that for every fight now? I mean, are they going back on their rules, or isn't there an IBF trinket belt on the line? There's a bit of confusion there with Ben Eubank. But why would there be a rehydration clause if there's no belt? Because the only one that do it are the IBF, and it's £10. It's now 12. So what's going on there? I mean, I thought safety were paramount in this sport. That's what Eddie Hills keeps going on about. Hills, run for the hills. Just like your dad did when Michael Watson got injured. You ran for the hills. What do you think, Terry? £12 from 10?
So that means Eubank can rehydrate to what, 172?
It's enough to beat Crusher, that, isn't it?
But I don't imagine Eubank's ever fought at 180, has he? He'd normally have fought at 172, 175 anyway. Yeah. He's not a naturally big guy. If you've ever just been around Chris, he's not a big guy.
Slight looking, isn't he? Very slight.
Yeah, and quite top heavy as well. So he's not a guy that's going to be massive. So I think 172 should be fine for him.
I've been told a lot of his training that he does, it's quite explosive stuff. A lot of short sprints, a lot of explosive stuff on bag and stuff like that. He's into all that explosive stuff and quick sprints in swimming pool and that. So it remains to be seen. But I'm going to tip Eubank to win by stoppage myself.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. What's yours, Terry?
I think Eubank will stop him actually, and we won't want to see a rematch.
No, but they'll want to do it. Well, they signed a 2-1. It's just 2-fight deal, isn't it? They signed.
Yeah, I'm tired of these rematches that don't make any sense.
Well, these rematch clauses, sorry for putting in the rematch clause, shouldn't the fans decide if there's a rematch? There weren't a rematch for Froch Groves when they first fought, and after, we all wanted a rematch. So shouldn't the fans decide, really?
That's what started all this nonsense, this idea that actually we can always get 2 fights out of something. And if it's a good first one, the second one will be even bigger.
Well, the rematch clause, I've been told, is if it's a mandatory, a draw, or a split decision on either way, they're going to do a rematch. So I'd expect if it goes to points, there'll be a rematch. But if it's a knockout and they've got a clause, and it's in it as an if it's a knockout, they'll have a rematch. I'd assume that'd be if Ben knocks him out, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So not if Eubank knocks him out, because you've got to back Eubank. Its favourite is the bigger man, isn't he? And he's got more
Experience.
CV.
He's been at a high. He boxed at a high level. All that sort of stuff.
And he's not won a belt. Don't forget, Crusher Ben. He's not won an area, English, British, Commonwealth, has he?
And he's in no kind of form either. Like,
No,
like
and you know what? They keep going on about, oh, he's a welterweight stepping up against the former super middleweight champion. Look, Eubank's been fighting for years at 160, and Crusher Ben's been fighting for 3 years as a light middle. So he's hardly a welter, is he?
Yeah.
There you go. But people keep going on about, oh, he's taking a risk here. We need a rehydration course. He's a welterweight anyway. He stepped up 3 years ago, didn't it? It's 3 years since he fought in April as a welter. So how is he like a welter? He's been a light middle. And Eubank's a middle, so he's only going up £6, really, isn't he? But they're making a big thing out of it. Like, he's so brave, little Connor. Oh, brave.
But they have to do it to make money, right? That otherwise you're not going to watch this fight unless there's that whole tension of, Connor's risking it all for family pride and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you for coming on. I'm going to get Anthony on now and then Canada Bob, and then I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to have a large gin and tonic, pink gin. How's about that, kid? With plenty of...
Yeah, look at you getting posh, mate.
I know I've sacked the old lager. I don't drink as much, but it's it's a Thursday evening. I feel I deserve it. I swam hard today and trained hard. So
go on, mate. Go on.
All right, Terry.
Good to speak to you, mate.
Thanks for coming
on.
Take care. And give me
pal.
my best.
All right, bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Well, that was Terry Chapandama, a banker from Zimbabwe. Women love him, men want to be him, and I love him to bits. And I've been his mate 9 years, I think now. 9 years. This May, so that's good, isn't it? I remember meeting Terry at Ponsford at a Dennis show, commenting on social media. I think it might have been Twitter. When he'll come to the show then. I remember him sat there on windowsill as I walked in. And I didn't know what he looked like. And were you Terry? He went, yeah. And I remember putting a wristband on his wrist, and we've hit it off ever since. I think we've had 2 or 3 fallouts over opinions on boxing where we didn't speak for a couple of weeks. But that's what happens when you're passionate. But the good mate stands his shout when you're out with him. He can hold his own in a good conversation, and he's a very affable human being, very good lad, and I love him to bits. That's about it, really. On Jonathan, the shake that I have after training is diet whey. It's at Amazon. It's called Shreds. It's 4 kilo for about 40 quid or 45 quid. They keep putting price up and down. 3 scoops of that, a pint of full fat milk, scoop of peanut butter, an egg, a scoop of Manuka honey, and Alpen, and press the bullet thing, press the blend thing. That's it. And it was Peter Fury that gave me the recipe, and I have that for a meal, and I have 2 other small meals a day, and that usually does me. That's why I'm 159, I think, today, 159 and a half. I usually between 158 and 163. So depending on what I picked out on, but I never really go above 164. So I in answer to your question, but different meals work for different people, don't they? Okie dokie. Keep forgetting to put these on the gear. That you get some glasses. You change the prescription. These are just for computer ones. I don't think it's cracked up where it used to be. I prefer to have the other ones on from sat back there. Okie dokie. Go on, peace out. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Max, give me a text and we'll get you on. All right. Booyaka. We've got Bob on now. No, Anthony, then Bob. I'm done then. And Ryan on Saturday. Nothing on Friday. Booyaka.